Good evening, Harpreet Singh. Now, yes, class started. Deepak Singh, Akhilesh, Gautam, Nidhi. ओके ऑडियो वीडियो क्लियर है. ओके, इज इट क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर? ओके, वी आर इन चारवाका फिलोसफी. Charvaka philosophy. And in Charvaka philosophy, we have seen so far, we have discussed so far. In short, we have discussed their theory of knowledge or epistemology, and their theory of knowledge we have discussed in short. They have accepted perception as a source of valid knowledge and refuted validity of inference, verbal testimony, etc. In metaphysical sphere, they have accepted this world as real, Jagat as real, and refuted transcendental entities like God, soul, etc. In ethical sphere, accepted earth and karma and refuted liberation, basically rebirth, etc. They have rejected. Accepted this world is the only real world, and we should try to find happiness or pleasure in this world, our own physical pleasure. This one is accepted by them. In short, we have discussed already. In theory of knowledge, we have discussed this part also. They have accepted perception as a source of valid knowledge. How they have accepted perception, how they have defined what's are required for perception: sense organs, object, and contact. Three things are required for perception. 5 types of sense organ. That's why 5 kinds of perceptions are accepted. Stop किया था. Clear? How Charvakas have rejected validity of inference. Rejection of validity of inference. And we have discussed few points, even inference. Inference in Hindi it is called anuman. And anuman, literal meaning is anuman is after knowledge. After knowledge means knowledge which is based on some prior knowledge. After knowledge means knowledge which is based on some prior knowledge. Prior knowledge. Yes or no? Knowledge which is based on some prior knowledge. Clear? सारे लोग बोलो, इज इट क्लियर? ए डी सी क्या लिख रहे हो आप? रिम जिम. क्लियर है? सारे लोग बोलना क्लियर है. ओके, so we have discussed such kind of things. Already we have discussed. Now we are going to refute validity of inference. Must be aware. So see, just note down the refutation of validity of inference. We have discussed few points regarding that one. Inference means after knowledge. After knowledge means knowledge which is based on some prior knowledge. And here prior knowledge is basically knowledge of Vyapti. Here prior knowledge means primarily Vyapti knowledge. See first of all, taking help of an example. For example, first line, there is a smoke on the mountain. A smoke on the mountain. and on the it's a matter of perception. There is a smoke on the mountain. On the basis of perceived smoke, and finally you infer there is fire on the mountain. There is fire on the mountain. On the mountain. So you can say, on the basis of perceived smoke, find knowledge of fire is a inferential knowledge. It's a kind of inferential knowledge. Inference means after knowledge. For example, first of all, you are getting knowledge of smoke, and after that, you are getting knowledge of fire. In this particular sense, in this particular context, first of all, you are getting knowledge of smoke somewhere, and on the basis of perceived smoke, you are getting inferential knowledge of fire. So this one is after knowledge. It's inferential knowledge. Inference means after knowledge, which is based on some prior knowledge. First of all, you are getting perception of smoke. Only not this knowledge is prior knowledge, one more knowledge is prior knowledge. One more knowledge you have in your mind. Mere on the basis of smoke, you can't find knowledge of fire. You are bound to remember this line also, where there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire. This one is Vyapti statement. It's a technical term, Vyapti. Note down, it's a Vyapti statement. So in process of getting knowledge of fire on the basis of perceived smoke, you are bound to take help of this line. This particular line is basically Vyapti sentence. Vyapti statement or sentence, you can say. It's a kind of Vyapti vak. So this Vyapti is accepted as the logical ground and nerve of inference. You must be aware. Is it clear? यहाँ तक clear है? एक बार बोल लो सारे लोग. हम अब आगे इस पे बढ़ेंगे. Is it clear? Is it clear? सारे लोग बोलो. Okay. So note down. इसको एक बार नोट कर लोगे. Vyapti means after knowledge. After knowledge means knowledge which is based on some prior knowledge. Knowledge which is some prior knowledge. Here prior knowledge means knowledge of Vyapti. And now note down in main structure meaning of Vyapti. Main structure में करोगे. Main structure we have written refutation of validity of inference, and we have written few points. After that main structure, just note down Vyapti. You must be aware, Vyapti is the logical ground and nerve of inference. Inference is basically based on Vyapti. Vyapti is the logical ground and nerve of inference. Nerve of inference. In process of inference, we are bound to take help of Vyapti. And what do you mean by Vyapti? Now we are going to write. And after writing Vyapti, we will refute. Clear? See, refutation of validity of inference. First of all, you will write inference means after knowledge. After knowledge means knowledge which is based on some prior knowledge. For example, when we see a smoke, find perception of smoke, we find inferential knowledge of fire. And in process of getting inferential knowledge of fire on the basis of perceived smoke, we take help of Vyapti. We take help of Vyapti. We take help of Vyapti. Vyapti is the logical ground and nerve of inference. Inference is basically based on Vyapti. And Charvakas have rejected this Vyapti, and rejecting Vyapti, they have rejected inferential knowledge. Inference. And we have discussed this one. Now, meaning of Vyapti. Clear? Meaning of Vyapti. Is it clear? Meaning of Vyapti. Note down. Vyapti is an You must be aware. Vyapti is a relation between, you must be aware. Vyapti is a relation between middle term and major term. It's a relation between middle term, middle and major. In other words, Hetu and Sadhya. Vyapti is a relation between Hetu and Sadhya. व्याप्ति इज रिलेशन बिटवीन हेतु एंड साध्य. रिलेशन बिटवीन, आप यहां पे लिख सकते हो रिलेशन बिटवीन. व्याप्ति इज रिलेशन बिटवीन हेतु एंड साध्य, मिडिल टर्म एंड मेजर टर्म. एंड व्हाट काइंड ऑफ रिलेशन इट इज? Relation between middle and major. And what kind of relation? 4 important features. Invariable, note down, invariable, concomitance, universal, unconditional relation. Note down. Vyapti is an invariable, concomitant, universal, unconditional relation between middle term and major term. This one is the definition of Vyapti. Vyapti is a relation between middle term and major term, or between Hetu and Sadhya. What kind of relation? Invariable, constant invariable, concomitance, universal, unconditional relation between middle term and major term. Example just below this, here just below this, note down example. Note down. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Example, where there is smoke, there is fire. Note down, where there is smoke, there is fire. This one is the example of Vyapti, you must be aware. Example, where there is smoke, there is fire. And one more line, just below this, here note down that just below this example, in process of refuting validity of inference, Charvakas have basically refuted Vyapti. In process of refuting validity of inference, Charvakas have rejected Vyapti. Charvakas have rejected Vyapti or refuted Vyapti. In process of refuting inference, Charvakas have rejected Vyapti. Since Vyapti is the logical ground and nerve of inference. For example, see once again. You must be aware middle term, major term and minor term. Arguments must be a syllogism, where on the basis of 2 statements we find out conclusion. 2 premises we find out conclusion. Always you will find 3 technical terms. 3 terms are used. Only 3 terms. One is middle, second one is major, third one is minor. Middle, major and minor. And see some important things regarding this particular parts also. Even in UPSC CSET paper, it will help you a lot. If you are aware with middle, major and minor. ये भी एक game है तो game खेल सकते हो. Arguments are basically made of 3 terms, middle, major and minor. And all these terms are used twice in one, in a valid argument. For example, see. First line, imagine you are getting perception of a smoke on mountain. So your first line will be, there is a smoke on the mountain. On the basis of a smoke, you are getting knowledge. Therefore, there is fire on the mountain. But on the basis of this single line, you can't derive this one. One more line is required here. And what's this line? This line is basically where there is smoke. These are the 2 premises. These are premises, and this one is the conclusion. Therefore, the term therefore is used. It's a conclusion indicator word. These 2 are premises. Where there is smoke, there is fire. And since there is smoke on the mountain, therefore there is fire on the mountain. On the basis of these 2 premises, you can derive the conclusion. And you must be aware, only 3 technical terms: smoke, mountain, and all these terms are used twice. Smoke देख लो 2 बार हो गया, mountain 2 बार हो गया, fire 2 बार हो गया. In a valid syllogism, only 3 terms are used, where on the basis of 2 premises we derive a conclusion. 2 premises we derive a conclusion. So only 3 terms, neither less than 3 nor more than 3, otherwise invalidity. And middle term is never used in conclusion. Middle term, which is the middle term? See here. A smoke is the middle term. The term which is used twice in the above premises, these are the 2 premises. Which word is used twice? A smoke. A smoke is a middle term. Middle term is never used in conclusion. See, middle term cut kar lo. You have to write mountain and fire. You are going to write there is mountain on the fire. For example, see one thing more. For example, all dogs are cats. थोड़ा अलग करके मैं थोड़ा इंडिकेट कर रहा हूँ लॉजिक को. All rabbits are cats. Imagine. नहीं, all rabbits are cats कर सकते हो, no problem. All dogs are cats, all rabbits are cats. So which term is used twice? These 2 terms, but this one is middle term and not used in above premises, so you can't find out any conclusion on the basis of that one. Problem is that. तो थोड़ा चेंज कर लेते हैं, लॉजिकली करेक्ट कर लेते हैं. All cats are rabbits. Imagine. उसमें fallacy हो जाएगी जो पहले वाले में. तो ये which term is used twice in the above premises? Cat. Cat is कट करो, इस दोनों को एक साथ एसोसिएट करो. All dogs are rabbits. Middle term can't be used in the conclusion. So in process of getting find out conclusion on the basis of 2 premises, you must be aware of some rules. And in process of getting conclusion, no need to create circle or to write 100%, 50%, etc. This one is one technique, but excellent technique. This one is brilliant technique, taking help of logic. Middle term never used in conclusion. So cut kar do middle term. This one is middle term, which is used twice in the above premises. You have to correlate dogs and cats, rabbits. Rabbits undistributed here, also undistributed. It is distributed here, it is also distributed here. No problem. All dogs are cats. It's a valid syllogism. Valid. ये रूल है सीसेट में, कभी देख लेंगे हम. See here. There is a smoke on the mountain. On the basis of perceived smoke, you are getting inferential knowledge of fire. And in this way, you are bound to take help of this. Where there is a smoke, there is fire. This one is basically Vyapti. Vyapti. Here a smoke is Hetu. Vyapti is relation between Hetu, means middle term, and fire means Sadhya. Sadhya. This one is fire. And Hetu means here in this particular sense a smoke. So what kind of relation between a smoke and fire? It's between a smoke and fire, invariable relation, concomitant relation, universal relation, unconditional relation. This one we have written. See here. Vyapti is an invariable, concomitant, universal, unconditional relation between middle term and major term, that is between Hetu and Sadhya. Example, where there is smoke, there is fire. Now is it clear? पहले बोलो इतना क्लियर है. Now we are going to refute it. This one is Vyapti. In number of occasions, this particular term is asked Vyapti. See. In 2016, one question was asked in UPSC. What would be Charvaka's view on Vyapti? So Charvakas have refuted Vyapti. So in process of writing what would be Charvaka's view on Vyapti, you have to write few lines regarding Vyapti. You have to write example of Vyapti and then start to refute it. This one is the view of Charvaka regarding Vyapti. They have refuted Vyapti. They have said Vyapti is unproved. We can't prove Vyapti. Different ways they have refuted. And we are going to discuss. In 2016, this question was asked. And imagine you are going to write such kind of lines. So, Charvaka's inference is not a source of valid knowledge. In Charvaka's philosophy 19. So, in process of writing, you will write inference is based on, inference means after knowledge. After knowledge means based on prior knowledge. Here, prior knowledge means knowledge of Vyapti. Inference is basically based on Vyapti. Vyapti means, and then start to refute it. So, in process of refuting, inference is not a source of valid knowledge. You have to refute basically Vyapti. And Vyapti is a very important technical term in Indian tradition, Indian philosophy. Vyapti, सारे लोग बोलना, invariable, concomitance, universal, unconditional relation between middle term and major term. सारे लोग लिख के बोलो. PhD कर लोगे philosophy में, you are bound to write same thing. You are bound to write same example. No need to change example. Where there is smoke, there is fire. You have to write, bound to write this example again and again. No need to change. No need to change the order. सारे लोग बोलो. What are the features of Vyapti? Vyapti is relation between whom? Middle term and major term. What kind of relation it is? एक बार बोल लो सारे लोग. What kind of relation? Vyapti. It's a technical term, Vyapti. Vyapti is the logical ground and nerve of inference. Vyapti is a relation between middle term and major term. And what kind of relation it is? Constant, invariable, concomitance, universal, unconditional. Okay. Santosh. Another also likho. Invariable, concomitant, universal, unconditional relation. Between whom? Manish Kumar. Between whom? Between middle term and major term. Or between Hetu and Sadhya. For example, relation between smoke and fire. The knowledge between smoke and fire, invariable. Always smoke exists with fire. Concomitance everywhere, universal everywhere. Never will find exceptions. If a smoke is there, certainly fire. It is unconditional relation. Never write where there is a fire, there is a smoke. Where there is fire, there is a smoke. It's a conditional relation. With a smoke, with fire, a smoke will exist only when if some conditions are fulfilled. If humidity is there with fire, then you will find a smoke. So never write this example where there is fire, there is a smoke. Always write where there is smoke, there is fire. It is unconditional relation. If a smoke, certainly fire. For example, never write where there is cloud, there is rain. This relation is conditional relation. With cloud, if some other conditions are also fulfilled, then you will find rain. Mere presence of cloud is not sufficient for rain. Cloud जो है वो थोड़ा घनघोर हो, उसी के accordingly सारा situation हो. Yes, Akhilesh Yadav, Harpreet. Invariable, concomitant, universal, unconditional relation between middle term and major term. Correct. What's a minor? Minor term means paksha. In this example, this particular example, this mountain is basically paksha. This one is minor term. Minor term. Minor term. So overall, middle term plays very, very important role. Middle term. First of all, we find perception of middle term in minor term. There is a smoke on the mountain. A smoke is middle term. Here too. And this minor term, mountain is minor term. So first of all, we find perception of middle term in minor term. Then we are able to recall this one. Where there is a smoke, there is fire. Relation between middle term and major term. And then we become able to infer there is fire on the mountain. Must be clear. Sadhya means major. Sadhya means major term. Yes, major term and middle term. Gautam Kumar. In place of major and middle, you may write major के बगल में लिख लो. Major and middle मत लिखो, middle and major. Between hetu and sadhya. Hetu, smoke is hetu and fire is sadhya. Sadh is major term, hetu is middle term. So always write between middle and major. Change मत करो क्रोनोलॉजी को. गौतम कुमार. कई लोग चेंज करता है, गलती नहीं पकड़ता है. We have written this example where there is smoke, there is fire. Never write where there is fire, there is smoke. Never write like that. Otherwise, this one is a conditional relation. And व्याप्ति must be unconditional. हम लोगों ने लिखा है. व्याप्ति accepted as unconditional relation between middle term and major term. But if you are saying where there is fire, there is smoke, so this statement can't be accepted as Vyapti statement. Why? This one is a conditional relation. Conditional relation. With fire, if humidity also present, then only you can find a smoke. So never ऐसा smartness नहीं चाहिए कि where there is fire, there is smoke. Never think like everyone will like same example. Right? Everywhere in every book, everywhere this example is given. Original text also same example. No need to change. Yes, what's the problem? Universal relation आप अपने आप हो गया. Universal, concomitance, constant, unconditional. If a smoke, certainly fire. Clear? And now we are going to refute this Vyapti. Now, the main structure में लिखोगे refutation of Vyapti. Refutation of Vyapti by Charvaka. Now we are going to write different arguments. So 5-6 ways they will refute Vyapti. Refutation of Vyapti by Charvaka. Clear? Relation between middle term and major term. मैं पूछूं ये स्मोक और फायर का रिलेशन कैसा है? If smoke always fire, everywhere fire. इंडिया में भी स्मोक फायर के साथ रहता है. अमेरिका डेवलप कंट्री, there also smoke will exist with fire. If smoke really smoke, then certainly fire. If really smoke की जगह में फॉग होगा तो फायर नहीं होगा. If really smoke, if hetu is real hetu, then certainly will find presence of major term there. Smoke with fire, constant है, invariable है, every universal है, yes or no. Concomitance है. Last one is unconditional. If smoke, unconditional है. Clear? Is it clear? Now we are going to refute. Now see. First point. It is said by Charvaka, first refutation. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. Question is that on which ground you have accepted Vyapti? So first of all, we are going to write Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. And we'll elaborate it. Again, we'll write Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of inference. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of verbal testimony. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of causal theory. Through perception, we can't find Vyapti. No, through perception also not possible. We will not accept it is universal in nature. And finally, we'll write Vyapti can't be proved. And inference is based on Vyapti. Vyapti is unproved. So inference also rejected ultimately. So one by one, we are going to see. Refutation of Vyapti by Charvaka. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. Note down first line. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. On the basis of perception. Clear? पहले बोलो, is it clear? Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. On the basis of perception. Why? व्याप्ति कांट बी प्रूव्ड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ परसेप्शन। दिमाग लगाओ कैसे परसेप्शन से नहीं होगा। नाउ यू मस्ट बी अवेयर, थिंक लॉजिकली। इफ इट इज आस्क्ड फ्रॉम यू on which ground you have this knowledge in your mind ki where there is smoke there is fire. We all have this knowledge in our mind where there is smoke there is fire, but on which ground you have accepted where there is smoke there is fire? You can say I have seen relation, this particular relation again and again in number of places, many places, many times. मेनी टाइम्स। कोई लोग बोल सकता है सुबह शाम देखते हैं, रसोई घर में रहते हैं, किचन में ही रहते हैं, सुबह शाम भी देखते हैं, सुबह में भी किचन में, शाम में भी किचन में। So every daily basis we find experience of relation between smoke and fire. So on the you can say on the basis of perception I have make up my mind that कि I have हमने ये mind बनाया है कि where there is smoke there is fire. But question is कि how many times you have seen and how many places? Only few places you have seen and sometimes you have seen relation between smoke and fire. किचन में देख लिया, मॉल में देख लिया, बिल्डिंग में देख लिया, फॉरेस्ट में देख लिया. Only few places you have seen a smoke with fire. You have not seen each and every place where there is smoke, there is fire. So on the basis of perception of a smoke and fire in few places, you can't say that where there is smoke, there is fire. It means if you are going to proceed from some to all, you will commit a fallacy. That fallacy is known as fallacy of illicit generalization. So note down. Yes. Perception requires direct sense organs contact. No doubt about it. Aggressor. But on the basis of perception, you always find particular knowledge. आप किचन में कहोगे इन किचन स्मोक एग्जिस्ट विथ फायर. यू कैन से इन दिस पर्टिकुलर रूम को स्मोक एग्जिस्ट विथ फायर. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ परसेप्शन यू कांट से वेयर देयर इज स्मोक देयर इज फायर. यू कांट से लाइक दैट. रिगार्डिंग perceived cases only you can say here smoke, here fire. How can you say regarding unperceived cases? Note down. व्याप्ति can't be proved on the basis of perception. According to Charvaka, इसी को ही विस्तार दे रहे हैं. फर्स्ट पॉइंट, व्याप्ति can't be proved on the basis of perception. Here itself, few points. This one is the first point. After you will write second point. According to Charvaka, area of perception is limited. Area of perception is limited. Area of perception is limited. On the basis of some perceived particular relations between smoke and fire. On the basis of some perceived particular relation between smoke and fire, we can't derive universal conclusion. That is, we can't derive universal conclusion. That is where there is smoke, there is fire. That is where there is smoke, there is fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Otherwise, it will lead to the fallacy of illicit generalization. If it is done, it would lead to the fallacy of illicit generalization. It would lead to the fallacy of illicit generalization. ILLICIT, illicit generalization. Illicit generalization, must be aware. Otherwise, it will lead to the fallacy of illicit generalization. Fallacy of illicit generalization. Clear? On the basis of according to Charvaka, चेंज करके इसी में on the basis of ordinary perception, we can't find universal conclusion like, we can't find knowledge of universal conclusion, we can't find knowledge of universal statement on the basis of ordinary perception. We can't find universal statement like, where there is smoke, there is fire. Second point. First point clear, second point. First part we have discussed. On the basis of perception, we can't find knowledge of universal conclusion or universal statement, that is where there is smoke, there is fire. On the basis of perception, we can say here in kitchen a smoke exists with fire, or in this forest a smoke exists with fire, or in this building a smoke exists with fire. We can't say where there is smoke, there is fire. If you proceed from sum to all, it will lead to the fallacy that is known as fallacy of illicit generalization. First part clear? ये फर्स्ट रिफ्यूटेशन क्लियर, सारे लोग बोलना, रिफ्यूटेशन ऑफ व्याप्ति बाई चार्वाका. एंड फर्स्ट रिफ्यूटेशन इज कि व्याप्ति कांट बी प्रूव्ड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ परसेप्शन. Area of perception is very limited. Even we can't find perception of past and future. Even in present also, we can't find all relations of smoke and fire, which have their existence in different places all over the world. We can find only some places relation between smoke and fire. Some places. It's a limitation. Area of perception is very, very limited. On the basis of perception of relation between smoke and fire, in some places, you can't say where there is a smoke, there is fire. Where there is smoke, there is fire, it's a universal statement. On the basis of some, you can't derive universal statement. Otherwise, illicit generalization will arise. First part clear. Second point. Refutation of Vyapti. Note down. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of inference. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of inference. Otherwise, two types of fallacy will arise. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of inference. First of all, we have written Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of inference. If anyone is going to prove Vyapti on the basis of perception, first point, perception, it will lead to the fallacy of illicit generalization. Even Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of inference. Otherwise, two types of problem will arise. If someone is going to prove on the basis of now see. First of all, perception, we have discussed. Through perception, not proved, otherwise fallacy of illicit generalization. Vyapti can't be proved even through inference. Why? Otherwise, two types of fallacy will arise. What are those two types of fallacies? You must be aware. First fallacy will arise, that is known as circular fallacy. In one sense, petitio principii also, fallacy. In which sense circular fallacy? You must be aware, inference itself is based on Vyapti. Inference is based on Vyapti. Vyapti is the logical ground and nerve of inference. Now, if Vyapti is proved taking help of inference itself, circular fallacy will arise. See the point. We have already discussed that inference is based on Vyapti. Now, if anyone is going to prove Vyapti taking help of inference, so it will lead to the fallacy of circular, it will lead to a fallacy known as circular fallacy. See the point. Taking help of this chart, you may write circular fallacy. Inference, here you have to write complete. Inference itself is based on Vyapti. Vyapti is accepted as logical ground of inference. And if Vyapti is proved taking help of inference itself, it will lead to the circular fallacy. First problem. Second, second problem is infinite regress. Fallacy of infinite regress will arise. Infinite regress means to go infinite, endless, no stopping point, you can say. Endless discussion. For example, infinite regress. For example, inference is based on Vyapti. And if you are proving this Vyapti taking help of another inference, inference itself is based on Vyapti. And now if you are proving this Vyapti taking help of another inference, that inference will also based on Vyapti. Again, to prove this Vyapti, you have to take help of inference. Again, this inference will depend on Vyapti. In this way, it will lead to infinite regress. Structure bana do. Inference is based on Vyapti. And if this Vyapti is proved taking help of another inference, you are taking help of inference. So inference is always based on Vyapti. Again, to prove this Vyapti, you have to take help of another third inference. Again, this inference will be based on Vyapti. To prove this Vyapti, you have to take help of fourth inference. And in this way, it will lead to infinite regress. So if Vyapti is proved taking help of inference, first, circular fallacy, oblique देकर लिख लेना petitio principii will arise. And second one is infinite regress will arise. Note down, chart बना के दिखा दोगे. If Vyapti is proved taking help of inference, then two types of fallacy will arise. First one is circular fallacy or petitio principii. Now, if Vyapti is proved taking help of inference itself, it will lead to the fallacy of circular fallacy. Inference will based on Vyapti. To prove this Vyapti, again we have to take help of inference. In this way, fallacy of infinite regress will arise. This one is second objection. Note down, clear? This one is the second one. Is it clear? पहले बोलो सारे लोग. Is it clear? This second argument clear? सारे लोग बोलना. ये अगर 20 मार्क्स का क्वेश्चन मिल गया तो आउट ऑफ 20 पॉसिबल टू फाइंड 18 मार्क्स इन सच काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस. पूरा लॉजिक है ये. क्लियर? अग्रसर, विकास, क्लियर? ओके. जहां प्रॉब्लम होगा पूछ के निपटा लेना, ध्यान रखना. Anis. Okay. Now second point. Now third point. Must be in process of refutation of Vyapti. Here we are trying to see, is there any way to prove Vyapti? Is there any ground to accept Vyapti? And we are going to examine one by one all different alternatives. First of all, it is said Vyapti is not proved on the basis of perception. Vyapti is not proved on the basis of inference. Third point. Vyapti is not proved on the basis of verbal testimony. Note down. Third point. Vyapti can't be proved. Vyapti can't be proved. वाला था परसेप्शन से नहीं होगा, इन्फरेंस से भी नहीं होगा. व्याप्ति can't be proved on the basis of verbal testimony, शब्द प्रमाण, through शब्द all. देखो, व्याप्ति रिमझिम चतुर, व्याप्ति इज ए काइंड ऑफ स्पेसिफिक रिलेशन. Be apti. Apti means extended. Be means specific in one sense. So Vyapti is a kind of a specific relation. A specific relation between whom? Between middle term and major term. What kind of relation it is? ये वी आपती दो शब्दों के योग से बना है. वी आपती मीन वी आपती. आपती मीन्स रिलेशन. and B means a specific in one sense. A special relation. A special relation between whom? Between middle term and major term, between hetu and sadhya. And what kind of relation it is? What kind of a specific relation? Between whom? Between middle and major. What kind of relation? For universal, concomitant, invariable, constant, concomitant. Rimjim Chaturvedi. Akhilesh Mishra. How can you say? देखो ये अब इसको think logically. Akhilesh Abhishek Mishra. How can I not say where there is smoke, there is fire? See the problem. Okay. मिडिल टर्म एंड मेजर टर्म का एग्जाम्पल, इसको यहीं पे स्टॉप करके देख लेते हैं. मान लो यू आर हियर, इमेजिन एनीवन इज हियर. एग्जाम्पल से समझो ना. एबल टू परसीव दिस माउंटेन, अनएबल टू परसीव दिस अपोजिट साइड वेयर ऑलरेडी फायर इज देयर. So this fire is accepted as major term, major. This one is sadhya, sadhya or major term. This mountain is accepted as minor term, minor, paksh. And this one is middle term, this one is known as hetu. Hetu means middle term. Here middle term is accepted as smoke is middle term. Mountain is minor term, that is paksha. And fire is major term, that is sadhya. So in process of getting inference, first of all you will find knowledge of hetu in minor term. आपने कहा there exists a smoke on the mountain. A smoke on the mountain. Your first line is smoke. You are getting perception of smoke on the mountain. Unable to see this side. This one is unperceived fire. On the basis of perceived smoke, find inferential knowledge of unperceived fire. To find knowledge of unperceived fire is known as inferential knowledge. In inference, on the basis of perceived smoke, you are getting perception of smoke. Smoke is middle term. Middle term very important. First of all, देखो ये चेंज हो सकता है माइनर. In place of mountain, building, mall, different things. But this one is common. First of all, you are getting knowledge of middle term, hetu. In other words, smoke. You are getting perception of smoke. You are getting perception of smoke. This one is unperceived. But on the basis of perceived smoke, you are getting knowledge of unperceived fire. Right now, it is unperceived. You are unable to perceive fire here. This one is opposite side of, and यहाँ से निकल रहा है. And how you are getting knowledge of unperceived fire? On the basis of inference. This knowledge is inferential knowledge. So in inference, we proceed from perceived to unperceived, from known to unknown. See, this one is perceived, this one is known, and this one is unknown so far. You are getting perception of a smoke. And on the basis of perceived smoke, now you are getting knowledge of unperceived fire. How you are getting knowledge of unperceived fire? You are not perceiving fire, it is unperceived. Through inference, you are getting knowledge of unperceived fire. And in this context, you are taking help of which line? One more line in your mind. As soon as you are getting perception of a smoke, वो क्लिक करता है आपके माइंड में कि जहां जहां धुआं वहां वहां आग. Then you will start to find out this conclusion. Certainly fire is there. So this line, where there is smoke, there is fire. This one is basically Vyapti state. So you take help of Vyapti in process of proceeding from a smoke to fire. How on the basis of perceived smoke you find knowledge of fire? Knowledge of fire is inferential knowledge. How? In this way you are bound to take help of this line. अगर इस line को हटा दोगे, so you will find a smoke and perception of a smoke, and you will find only knowledge of smoke. Is it clear? मिडिल, मेजर एंड माइनर लॉजिक पढ़े हो रिमझिम चतुर्वेदी, किस बेसिस पे पर कुछ सी middle term is that term on the basis of whom we infer major term. Major term is here on the basis of smoke you are inferring fire. So fire is the major term. So what do you mean by middle term? Middle term is that on the basis of whom we infer knowledge of fire. So in process of getting inference, first of all you find smoke दिखाई दिया. On the basis of smoke we find knowledge of fire. So smoke is middle term, and on the basis of middle term what you are going to derive, that is known as major term. And where it is derived, that is known as minor term. Where? In mountain. तो माउंटेन में कह रहे हो कि देयर इज फायर ऑन द माउंटेन. तो माउंटेन इज द ग्राउंड सबस्ट्रेटम वेयर यू आर गेटिंग. अगर माउंटेन की जगह पे अगर होता बिल्डिंग, तो बिल्डिंग मेजर माइनर टर्म हो जाता है. रिमझिम चतुर्वेदी, देयर इज अ ग्राउंड टू डिसाइड मिडिल, मेजर एंड माइनर. मिडिल टर्म इज ऑलवेज यूज्ड इन द above premises. For example, and middle term used twice in the above premises. For example, here smoke is middle term. See twice, where there is smoke there is fire. Where there is smoke on the mountain. Where there is smoke there is fire. Where there is smoke there is fire. So smoke is used twice in the above premises. The term which is used twice in the above premises, that is known as middle term. Middle term is the beginning of inference. Middle term is the ground on the basis of whom we derive knowledge of major term. No, व्याप्ति is not. व्याप्ति conclusion क्यों कहोगे? On the basis of a smoke you are deriving where there is a smoke there is fire. This one is vyapti, but on taking help of this vyapti, what kind of knowledge you are deriving? There is fire on the mountain. So here there is fire on the mountain. It's your conclusion. In process of inference, we take help of vyapti. We are bound to take help of vyapti. मान लो आपको धुआं दिख रहा हो, smoke. So on the basis of smoke, you derive knowledge of fire. But on how you are deriving fire? Since one more knowledge in your mind, where there is smoke, there is fire. This one is vyapti. You are taking help of vyapti. And taking help of vyapti on the basis of perceived smoke, you are inferring knowledge of fire. It should be clear. मेजर टर्म, जहां मिडिल टर्म रहता है उसको मेजर टर्म बोलेंगे. जहां वेयर वी विल प्रूव major term ultimately. So here finally we are proving fire exists. There exists fire on the mountain. So fire कहाँ पे है? उसको हम जो ग्राउंड हो, जो सबस्ट्रेटम है, उसको हम लोग माइनर टर्म कहेंगे. It is known as पक्ष, माइनर टर्म. क्लियर? क्लियर? निधि पवार, अभी आप प्रेमिजेस के मेजर टर्म उसमें मत जाओ. No need, must be aware. The term which is used twice in the above premises is known as middle term. You must be aware. जैसे मान लो हमने कहा all cats are, या और नोट कर लो all roses are flower. All flowers are red. So here flowers are used twice in the above premise. This one is the middle term, and middle term is never used in the conclusion. So you have to correlate conclusion roses and red. You can't use write all red are roses. You are bound to write all roses are red. Here all already है, ये कट नहीं हुआ. So all roses are red. You can find out. मिडिल टर्म का रोल सबसे बड़ा है. Deepak Singh, in one sense we can say, but you must be aware how we find Vyapti knowledge. When according to Charvaka, when we find two things coming one after another, smoke and fire, twice, thrice, four times, we universalize that one. Where there is smoke, there is fire. First of all, you have find particular statement. In kitchen, smoke exists with fire. In forest, smoke exists with fire. In a building, smoke exists with fire. And then we universalized. So it is said by Charvaka that we can't find this knowledge on the basis of perception. On the basis of perception, we can find only particular knowledge, never universal knowledge. And this line is a universal statement. Where there is smoke, there is fire. Clear? Generalization, it's a kind of generalization. Yes. Infinite regress means, for example, Harpreet Singh, infinite regress, to go infinite. For example, if it is asked, who is the cause of yourself? Harpreet Singh, Pushar, what do you mean by infinite regress? If it is asked, who is the cause of you can say my mother and father. Again, question will be asked, who is the cause of them? You can say their mother and father. Again, question is possible, उनका cause कौन है? आप कहोगे उनके mother and father. उनके cause कौन? पूरा 100 पेज भर दोगे. Endless discussion. It will lead to infinite regress. It will lead to infinite regress, to go infinite. That's why religious sphere said, to stop this infinite regress, ultimately it is accepted in religious sphere, God. Once you accept God, this fallacy of infinite regress, sideline. God is the mother and father of all. In religious sphere. So you must be aware, infinite regress means to go infinite. For example, inference itself is based on Vyapti. Now, if inference itself is based on Vyapti. Now, if someone is going to prove this Vyapti taking help of another inference, if a person is going to prove Vyapti taking help of inference, so inference, again, that another inference will also based on Vyapti. Since Vyapti is the nerve of inference. And again, you have to prove this Vyapti taking help of inference. Since here, what is the second position? You are proving Vyapti taking help of inference. So once you will prove Vyapti taking help of inference, so inference itself is dependent on Vyapti. Again, you have to prove this Vyapti taking help of another inference. Again Vyapti, again inference, lead to infinite regress. It should be clear. To go infinite, Deepak Singh. जिसके हिसाब से we will infer. No, Harpreet Singh, here once we infer or conclude, then Vyapti, see the condition. In process of inference, you are bound to take help of Vyapti or not. Always inference is based on Vyapti. And in second argument, second refutation, it is said, if Vyapti is proved taking help of inference, so then it will go infinite regress. If Vyapti is proved taking help of inference itself, circular fallacy, inference is based on Vyapti, you are proving Vyapti through inference. सब if में चल रहा है, must be aware, using the term if. If को use करोगे. No, Akhilesh Mishra, universal knowledge is also proved by perceived knowledge. No, must be aware. Through perception, always will find knowledge of particular. Through perception, never find universal knowledge. Never find universal knowledge. Vyapti is a kind of universal knowledge on the basis of perception, not proved. Why? On the basis of perception, you can say this man is honest, that man is, Ram is honest, Mohan is honest, Sohan is honest, Raju is honest, Geeta is honest. But on the basis of perception, you can't say all men are honest. If you are on the basis of some perceived fact, if you are writing universal conclusion, it will lead to a fallacy, illicit generalization. On the basis of perception, we always find particular knowledge of particular. On the basis of perception, you can say in kitchen, a smoke exists with fire. In this building, a smoke exists with fire. In this forest, a smoke exists with fire. How can you say where there is smoke, there is fire? On the basis of perception, limited perception? No, must be aware. Yes, Harpreet Singh, clear. On the basis of perceptual knowledge, अभी देखो कोरोना में क्या हुआ अभिषेक मिश्रा. इमेजिन बहुत सारे इसमें थे, वर्कर थे, ऐसे वॉलेंट्री जो वॉलेंटियर्स थे, उन्होंने कहा कि लगाओ कोरोना वैक्सीन. इमेजिन वंस यूज्ड कोविशील्ड और कोवैक्सीन, वंस यूज्ड कोवैक्सीन एंड रिजल्ट आया कि क्योर हो गया आदमी. ट्वाइस अगेन कोवैक्सीन वाज यूज्ड, अगेन सेम रिजल्ट, क्योर. थर्ड टाइम, फोर्थ टाइम, 100 टाइम्स, 10,000 टाइम्स. एंड ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सम, इट मीन्स कि सम टाइम्स वी हैव यूज्ड कोवैक्सीन एंड कोरोना क्योर हो गया. Then finally universalized कि whenever we will use co-vaccine, then it will cure corona. So in science always we proceed from some to all, but if you will think logically, you can't accept all type of statements on the basis of some. It is possible to doubt on that one. It is possible to doubt logically. In all scientific conclusions, in one sense, you can say fallacy of illicit generalization. Science always proceed from some to all. And wherever we proceed from some to all, a kind of fallacy known as fallacy of illicit generalization. Clear? Circular fallacy means, see, inference itself is based on Vyapti. Vyapti. Inference is based on Vyapti. Now, if the term if anyone is going to prove Vyapti taking help of inference itself, circular fallacy. इसको इसके बेस पे प्रूव कर रहे हो, इसको इसके बेस पे, what kind of fallacy will arise? Circular fallacy. Clear. Next, thought. Third point. Well, it is not proved on the basis of verbal testimony or Sabda Pramana. Note down. If Vyapti is proved on the basis of verbal testimony, then again it will lead to fallacy of petitio principii or circular fallacy. If Vyapti is proved on the basis of verbal testimony, Sabda Pramana, then again it will lead to the fallacy of petitio principii. See, Rimjim Chaturvedi, see the context. I have always used the term if it is proved. Those who accepted inference as a source of valid knowledge from their point of view, no problem. Here we are in Charvaka's philosophy. Charvakas have rejected inference. In process of refuting inference, they have refuted Vyapti. It is said by him, Vyapti is not possible to establish on the basis of perception. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of inference. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of verbal testimony. Vyapti can't be proved through other ways also. If Vyapti is proved taking help of inference, in Vyapti's inference itself is based on Vyapti. Now, if Vyapti is proved on the basis of inference, then circular fallacy will arise. That's all. दो लाइन में लिखना है, ज्यादा दिमाग मत लगाओ. You must be aware, Abhishek Mishra on the basis of perception, you never find universal knowledge. Perception is always limited. आप perception के बेस पे ये देख सकते हो, wall is white. This one is there. In our life, most of the things we perform on the basis of inference. Right now, you are preparing for civil services. Basically, you have inferred in your mind that if I will work hard, I will certainly find success. But problem चार्वाक के साथ है, चार्वाक have rejected inference. Most except Charvaka, everywhere inference is accepted, but Charvakas have rejected. So we first of all think from Charvaka's point of view, and finally we'll refute what is said by Charvaka. I'm not going to accept what is said by Charvaka. But first of all, you have to think from the point of view of Charvaka. Very beginning, don't try to go against Charvaka. Otherwise, you will be able to understand criticism, unable to understand Charvaka's position. First of all, think in which way they have refuted inference, in which way they have refuted Vyapti. And after that, start to refute Charvaka's position कि हम नहीं मानेंगे. Clear? No, not inference. It's like Petitio Principi. Manish. Okay? So first of all, think in which way they have said. If Vyapti is proof taking help of verbal testimony, Sabda Praman, again it will lead to circular fallacy or Petitio Principi. How? Inference is based on Vyapti. A structure bana do. And now if Vyapti is proved on the basis of verbal testimony means a statement of reliable person. This one is accepted as verbal testimony. A statement of reliable person. Inference itself is based on Vyapti. Now if Vyapti is proved taking help of verbal testimony, so verbal testimony itself requires inference. Identification of reliable person is dependent on inference. So if Vyapti is proved taking help of verbal testimony, it will again lead to circular fallacy. Note down. So Vyapti can't be proved taking help of verbal testimony. Harpreet Singh, why you are using more mind? No need. Think logically. Abhishek Mishra, what a proof. Proof क्या है कि in our life, time to time, we create a illicit generalization in our life. Psychological sense, we all have some sort of psychological disorder in your mind. We all are psychologically some sort of psychological disease. We time to time universalize on the basis of some perceived particular facts. Imagine एक बार कैट ने आपका जा रहे हो, कैट ने रास्ता काट दिया एंड सम इंसिडेंट्स हो गया, एक्सीडेंट हो गया कोई. ट्वाइस अगेन कैट ने आपके पाथ को क्रॉस किया, अगेन एक्सीडेंट हो गया. ट्वाइस, 4 times, then we universalized. Although sometimes it happens, but universalize in our mind. Whenever cat will cross the path, certainly accident will happen. Mind make up कर लेते हैं. It's a kind of fallacy of illicit generalization. Sometimes with particular pain, imagine one particular pain used and got success. Twice again pain, that particular pain was used, again success. 3rd time, 4th time, 5th time, 10th time. We universalize in our mind. Whenever I will use this particular pain, I will find success. What kind of fallacy it is? Fallacy of illicit generalization. कभी पेन के साथ, कभी टी शर्ट के साथ. एक उनका आमिर खान का एक लक्की टी शर्ट है, बोलते हैं लक्की टी शर्ट है. वो 3-4 बार टी शर्ट पहन के गए, इंडिया ने मैच जीत लिया. ट्वाइस, 4 times, 5 times. तो कमेंटेटर कमेंट कर रहा था, अगेन विथ लक्की टी शर्ट आमिर खान आ गए हैं, फिर इंडिया जीतेगा. उस समय हार गया इंडिया. So you can't correlate them. This pain is my lucky pain. ये लोग लाइफ में इस टाइप की चीजें बैठा, हजारों चीजें बैठाए हुए दिमाग में, पेन के साथ, शर्ट के साथ, स्लीपर्स के साथ, चश्मे के साथ, such kind of relationship, universal relation accepted in mind. If this one is happening, certainly that one will happen. Same thing is here also. Once you have find knowledge of a smoke with fire, second time also a smoke with fire, third time, fourth time, 10,000 times, doesn't matter, 10,000 times, daily basis. This doesn't mean that you can say where there is a smoke. Universal is, you can't establish universal relation between them. Regarding those perceived cases, yes, you can say in kitchen smoke exists with fire, no doubt. But how can you say where there is smoke there is fire? Where there is smoke there is fire? मान लो कोई मासी नाम या चेरा पूंजी में रहता हो, always from the very beginning. So whenever he will perceive cloud, he will always perceive rain. Twice, 10,000 times, 1 lakh times, always cloud and rain. So is it possible to say where there is cloud, there is rain? No. आप पूरे वर्ल्ड में घूमोगे तब ना पता चलेगा, घूम घूम हर एक चीज, सी ईच एंड एवरीवेयर वेयर स्मोक एग्जिस्ट विथ फायर और नॉट. थिंक लॉजिकली, not emotionally. So on the basis of perceived cloud with rain again and again 10,000 times, can you say where there is smoke there is fire? Can you say? And if you are saying like that, where there is cloud there is rain, you are creating a fallacy, illicit generalization. Bolo yes or no? Yes, Harpreet Singh. I just mean to say that don't universalize our limited knowledge, even proved. Although proved, kitchen में smoke exists with fire, it is proved. Through perception, you are getting knowledge, smoke with fire. But you can't say where there is smoke, there is fire. You can't say. Vikas Kumar Yadav, auditory perception is accepted, but rejected verbal testimony. Vikas Kumar Yadav. Auditory perception is different from verbal testimony. I will explain what you are asking. If I will speak, right now, if I will speak French, you will find only auditory perception. You will not find any knowledge. But right now, you are getting verbal testimony. You are getting some knowledge, what I am saying. First of all, auditory perception, and then you are taking help of verbal testimony. See the point. For example, जैसे मान लो, how many times you have seen crow? कौवे को कितनी बार देखा है? सारे लोग बोलो. How many times? अभिषेक मिश्रा भी बोलो, तुम भी बोलो आप. बताओ, how many times you have seen crows? नेहा श्रीवास्तव, अग्रसर, हरप्रीत, आयुष भी है. How many times? Vikas. How many times you have seen crows? So many times. Okay. 1 lakh times daily देखते हो. And you have always seen this crow as black. Can you say on the basis of those perceived crows you have find always black? Can you say where there is any crow it must be black? Where there is any crow it will be black? Or can you say all crows are black? Can you say all crows are black? Logically, think logically. Can you say? Many times, okay. Many times, okay, Manish Kumar. But on the basis of many times you have seen crows as black. Neha, don't try to think like that. Think logically. The Charvaka has totally made us confused. Think logically. It's a highly logical part. And what is said by Charvaka, we will not accept that one. Finally, we will refute Charvaka's thought. Neha Srivastav, just see. Can you say on the basis of perceived crows, you have always find it them as black? Can you say where there is any crow, it will be black, or all crows are black? Can you say? If on the basis of perceived crows, if you are saying like that, although you have always seen crows as black, but you can't say all crows are black. Regarding perceived crow, जो आपने देखा है उसके बारे में बोल सकते हो कि आज तक मैंने जितना देखा है वो सब crow black था. But you can't say all crows are black. If you are getting such kind of conclusion, fallacy, illicit generalization. So Charvakas have rejected possibility of universal knowledge, must be aware. And where there is smoke, there is fire. It's a kind of universal statement. All those places where smoke exists, there exists fire. एकदम आसान है, एक बार दिमाग में आ गया तो लगेगा तो गेम है ये. Yes or no? And लाइफ में हमेशा टाइम टू टाइम वी कमिट दिस पर्टिकुलर फैलेसी ऑफ जनरलाइजेशन. घर से कभी बाहर निकलते हो, किसी आदमी को देख लिया और कुछ हो जाए, अगेन उसी आदमी को देखा हो जाए, तो कहोगे अरे ये आदमी ठीक नहीं है, ये जतरा मेरा खराब हो जाता है, ये अपशकुन है. वी यूनिवर्सलाइज दैट वन, दैट पर्टिकुलर पर्सन इज रिलेटेड टू दैट पर्टिकुलर एक्सीडेंट और इंसिडेंट्स हो जाता है. वी ऑलवेज यूनिवर्सलाइज सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स इन आवर लाइफ. इट्स ए काइंड ऑफ फैलेसी. व्हाट काइंड ऑफ फैलेसी? Illicit generalization. Anish Mishra, I can say all crows are black, but certainly there will be doubt. In New Zealand, you will find white crows. So far as you will not seen all crows, how can you say all crows are black? You have seen few crows, some places, and finding them as black. So how can you say all crows are black? You can say all crows are black only when if you are going to see all crows, and that is not possible to see all crows. It means you can't find this conclusion. Same thing is here also. Sometimes you will find knowledge of a smoke with fire, few places sometimes. So regarding those cases, you can say correct, a smoke exists with fire. But how can we say that all those places where a smoke exists, fire will be also there? How can we say? Regarding perceived cases, you can say smoke exists with fire. But you can't say where there is smoke, there is fire. You can't say like that. It is said by Charvaka. That's all. Yes or no? हम लोग कई बार ये तो फैलेसी बहुत लोगों के साथ. सचिन तेंदुलकर वो अपने किट बैग में एक बैट रखते थे कि उनको ये दिमाग में था कि इफ दिस इन किट बैग दिस पर्टिकुलर बैट इज देन आई विल हिट सेंचुरी, मारेंगे हम. तो उनके दिमाग में था. ट्वाइस थ्राइस 4 टाइम्स ऐसा हुआ कि किट बैग में बैग है, उनके किट बैग में ये बैट था और उन्होंने सेंचुरी लगा दी. तो यूनिवर्सलाइज दैट रिलेशन कि व्हेन आई विल यूज दिस पर्टिकुलर बैट देन आई विल, ऐसा कहते हैं कुछ लोग कि उनको भी इस टाइप से था कि वो लकी बैट है उनका. तो लकी हम लोग बहुत चीज मान के बैठे हुए. लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स आर लकी. कभी टी शर्ट लकी, कभी पेन लकी, कभी चश्मा लकी, कभी कोई मान लो कोई टी शर्ट यू हैव यूज फर्स्ट टाइम एंड यू हैव गॉट सम गुड इन्फॉर्मेशन, गुड न्यूज, तो कहते हैं बड़ा लकी टी शर्ट है ये कि वेन एवर आई विल यूज दिस टी शर्ट आई विल फाइंड सम गुड इन्फॉर्मेशन, गुड न्यूज. So it's not necessary listen. How can you universalize that one? Same thing is smoke with fire also. Although you have always find knowledge of a smoke with fire, but how can you universalize it? हो गया क्लियर अब? यस क्लियर. अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. यही सबसे इसका कोर पर ये क्लियर, तो इसका मतलब पूरे चारवाक का यही सबसे क्रूशियल पार्ट है. इसलिए आई एम गिविंग ए स्पेशल एम्फेसिस ऑन दिस पार्ट. आफ्टर दैट ऑल एवरीथिंग इज सो इजी. दिस वन इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इन चारवाका फिलोसफी. ये क्लियर, तो ये चारवाका क्लियर. नेक्स्ट फोर्थ पार्ट, फर्स्ट सेकेंड थर्ड फोर्थ. व्याप्ति can't be proved on the basis of cause effect theory. व्याप्ति can't be proved on the basis of causal theory. Yes, व्याप्ति can't be proved on the basis of causal theory. Since causal theory itself is a kind of vyapti. Since causal theory itself is a kind of vyapti. So, causal theory itself is a kind of vyapti. So, if vyapti is proved, So if Vyapti is proved on the basis of causal theory or cause effect theory, causal theory, then again it will lead to circular fallacy or petitio principii. Again it will lead to circular fallacy. Again it will lead to circular fallacy. Fourth part, circular fallacy. Next, Vyapti is accepted as unconditional. Unconditional. It is accepted as one important feature of Vyapti is unconditional. Now Charvaka have said, Charvaka is refuting. Vyapti is accepted as unconditional. But according to Charvaka, unconditionality of Vyapti, unconditionality of Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. Unconditionality of Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. Unconditionality of Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. This one is the fifth point, unconditional. Next, sixth one. According to Charvaka, on the basis of perception, we can find knowledge of particular only. On the basis of perception, we can find knowledge of particular only. Vyapti is a universal statement or universal relation. Vyapti is a universal relation which is beyond perception. Which is beyond perception. Which is beyond perception. Which is beyond perception. यहीं पे नोट कर लो आप. Through perception we find only knowledge of particular statement. Vyapti is a kind of universal relation or universal statement. So through perception we can't find knowledge of universal. Note करके लिख लो. It is notable that in Nyaya philosophy, it is notable that in Nyaya philosophy, knowledge of Vyapti is explained. Here it is notable that in Nyaya philosophy, knowledge of Vyapti is explained on the basis of an extraordinary perception, on the basis of extraordinary perception known as सामान्य लक्षण perception. Known as सामान्य लक्षण perception. Note down. Here it is notable that in Nyaya philosophy, knowledge of Vyapti is explained on the basis of an extraordinary perception known as सामान्य लक्षण perception. यहीं पे लिखोगे. Charvakas have accepted only ordinary perception. Charvakas have accepted only ordinary perception and denied extraordinary perception. ये डिबेट मिलेगा कब न्याय में, अभी नहीं, ध्यान रखना. Although we have written, but we'll discuss this one in detail. Nyaya philosophy, not here. Charvakas have denied extraordinary perception. That's why they have rejected possibility of knowledge of Vyapti. Knowledge of Vyapti. Now main structure. What is inference now? Final conclusion. Final conclusion in Charvaka's philosophy regarding inference. It is said by Charvaka, note down. According to Charvaka, inference is a psychological process. Inference is a psychological process. Inference is a psychological process. To provide definite and reliable knowledge, it's not the nature of inference. To provide definite and reliable knowledge, it's not the nature of inference. Although sometimes it comes out true. Although sometimes it comes out true. कभी कभी सही हो जाता है अनुमान, but to provide all the time right knowledge, valid knowledge, reliable knowledge is not its nature. It is said by them, when we find two things coming one after another on regular basis, when we find two things coming one after another on regular basis, then mentally we associate them, and start to accept universal relation between them. Which is not correct. Start to accept universal relation between them, which is not correct. In Western philosophy, Hume has also propounded same sort of view. In Western philosophy, Hume, H-U-M-E, Hume has also propounded same sort of view. Same sort of view was propounded by him. Yes, same sort of view propounded by Hume, H-U-M-E. अब शॉर्ट में कर लो आप, शॉर्ट में, यहीं पे शॉर्ट में कर रहे हैं. इन शॉर्ट, रिफ्यूटेशन ऑफ वैलिडिटी ऑफ इन्फरेंस. इन शॉर्ट क्या करना है ध्यान रखना. अगर इफ यू आर गेटिंग क्वेश्चन रिगार्डिंग रिफ्यूटेशन ऑफ वैलिडिटी ऑफ इन्फरेंस, तो हाफ पेज का एक स्ट्रक्चर बना लो. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन मीनिंग ऑफ इन्फरेंस. Meaning of inference means after knowledge. After knowledge means based on some prior knowledge. Here prior knowledge means knowledge of Vyapti. Vyapti is a relation between middle term and major term. And what kind of relation it is? 4 important aspects. And then we will write its example of Vyapti. And we will also write it's a logical ground and nerve of inference. First part. If question is like that, is rejection of validity of inference, how you will start? First of all, you will write inference means after knowledge, means based on some prior knowledge. Prior knowledge means knowledge of Vyapti. Vyapti is an invariable, concomitant, universal, unconditional relation between middle and major. Example, where there is smoke, there is fire. It's a logical ground and nerve of inference. And in process of refuting inference, Charvakas have rejected Vyapti. Clear? So now, refutation of Vyapti will start. Vyapti can't, not through perception. Otherwise, it will lead to fallacy of illicit generalization. Not through inference also. Otherwise, 2 types of fallacy. Petitio principi, circular fallacy, or infinite regress. Not through refutation of Vyapti can't be proved through verbal testimony. Not through verbal testimony. Otherwise, again, petitio principii. Vyapti can't be proved not through causal theory. Even through taking help of causal theory, we can't prove Vyapti. Otherwise, if you try to prove, lead to petitio principii. Unconditionality can't be proved. Vyapti is accepted as unconditional. Unconditionality of Vyapti unproved, said by Charvaka. And last, Charvakas have accepted only ordinary perception and refuted extraordinary perception. This extraordinary perception is accepted by Nyaya. Charvakas have accepted only ordinary perception, and through ordinary perception, we never find knowledge of Vyapti. We never find perception of Vyapti. And Nyaya philosophers have explained knowledge of Vyapti taking help of extraordinary perception. Three kinds of extraordinary perception by Nyaya. One is Samanya Lakshan perception. So Nyaya have said through Samanya Lakshan perception we can find knowledge of Vyapti. But Charvakas have denied extraordinary perception, accepted only ordinary perception, and that's why denied knowledge of Vyapti. In this way, Vyapti is rejected by them. After rejecting Vyapti, they have said Vyapti is a psychological process. When we find two things coming one after another, for example, a smoke with fire, twice, thrice, 4 times. Mind में बैठा लेते हैं कि where there is smoke, there is fire. For example, when we find two things coming one after another, for example, cat or incidents, mind में बैठाते हैं where there is cat, where cat will cross the path, incidents will happen. It's a psychological association. We associate them psychologically in our mind. Not necessary in one sense, according to Charvaka. In this way, Charvakas have rejected Vyapti, and refuting Vyapti, they have refuted validity of inference. एक बार नोट करो इसको. Yes, इसको नोट कर लो. 5 मिनट में मैंने समराइज कर दिया कॉम्प्लेक्स पार्ट को. Inference is one of the most complex topic in Indian tradition, Indian philosophy. किसी को जज करना हो तो उसको इन्फरेंस में देखो, इन्फरेंस कैसे पढ़ाता है. इफ यू वांट टू जज एनीवन, सी उसका लेवल देखो इन्फरेंस में. हाईली लॉजिकल. एक जगह एक वर्ड गलत निकल गया ना तो फाइंड सम सॉर्ट ऑफ इनकंसिस्टेंसी समवेयर एल्स. इज इट क्लियर? अगर शॉर्ट में लिखना, मान लो 10 नंबर में, 15 नंबर में आ जाए, ऐसे लिखो रिफ्यूटेशन ऑफ वैलिडिटी ऑफ इन्फरेंस. ऐसे यू मे राइट इन्फरेंस मीन्स आफ्टर नॉलेज which is based on some prior knowledge. Here prior knowledge means knowledge of Vyapti. Vyapti is an invariable, concomitant, universal, unconditional relation between middle term and major term, between Hetu and Sadhya. Example, where there is smoke, there is fire. This Vyapti is accepted as logical ground and nerve of inference. In process of refuting inference, Charvakas have refuted this Vyapti. How refuted? They have said Vyapti can't be proved through any way. If Vyapti is not proved through perception, if you will try to prove, if through perception is proved, fallacy will arise. Vyapti is not proved through inference. If it is proved, 2 types of fallacy will arise: petitio principii, infinite regress. Vyapti can't be proved through verbal testimony. If it is proved through verbal testimony, again petitio principii. It is not proved on the basis of causal theory, otherwise it will lead to petitio principii. Vyapti is unconditional, but it can't be proved. Charvakas have accepted only ordinary perception. Through ordinary perception, we can't prove Vyapti. Charvakas have denied extraordinary perception. It is accepted by Nyaya. And accepting extraordinary perception, Nyayas have accepted Vyapti. It is possible to find knowledge of Vyapti through an extraordinary perception known as Samanya Lakshan perception, and that's all. Perfect, near to perfection. That's all. इतना लिख दो, बहुत है. कितनी बार सवाल है? पहले यूपीपीसीएस देखो. मार्क्स स्टेट एंड एग्जाम इन चारवाका रिफ्यूटेशन ऑफ इन्फरेंस 2013 40 मार्क्स का था. डिस्कस चारवाका रिफ्यूटेशन ऑफ इन्फरेंस 10 मार्क्स का है. शॉर्ट कर दो यूपीपीसीएस. 2017. How Charvakas refute Anumana Pramana? Through different ways refuted. Next. यहाँ पे फिर why Charvaka does not accept inference as a pramana? Since number of fallacies will arise. If will prove inference is based on Vyapti, and if Vyapti is proved through anyway, it will lead to some sort of problem. That's why Charvakas does not accept inference as a pramana. परफेक्ट है, 10 में से 8 आ जाएगा नंबर, 9 मिल जाएगा, आउट ऑफ 10 8 9, 10 में 10 भी हो सकता है, टीचर के ऊपर डिपेंड है। हियर इसको भी देखेंगे। हाउ चार्वाका inference is not a source of valid knowledge. Inference is not a source of valid knowledge. 5-6 points. And question is that are the Charvakas consistent when they hold that inference is not a source of valid knowledge? So how they have said inference is not a source of valid knowledge? Different grounds, 6 grounds or 7 grounds. And then we'll start to refute Charvakas position by others. हम बताएंगे Charvakas are not consistent. Are the Charvakas consistent? Ultimately we'll write, although they have tried their level best to refute inference, but some sort of problem remains in their philosophy. Problem है इनमें, ये consistency maintain नहीं रख पाते हैं. We'll write. Is rejection of inference acceptable to other system of Indian philosophy? No, Indian philosophy, all other Indian philosophers have accepted inference as a source of valid knowledge. Is Charvaka's rejection of inference acceptable? No. How? We'll discuss. And how they have rejected, I have discussed already. 2016, सवाल देखो. What would be Charvaka's view on Vyapti? They have refuted Vyapti through different ways. Vyapti not proved through perception, inference, otherwise different kinds of fallacy. Can this view be acceptable on Naiyayikas? Naiyayikas have said no. It is possible to find knowledge of Vyapti through Samanya Lakshan perception. I will discuss this one in detail in Nyaya, not here. पूछोगे सवाल उत्तर नहीं देंगे यहाँ पे. न्याय फिलॉसफी में डिस्कस करेंगे इन डिटेल. Why do Charvaka not believe in the validity of inference? Why they do not believe in the validity of inference? 2012. Able to write, no problem. Hanuman, Charvaka's refutation of Hanuman. It itself is a process of Hanuman. I will discuss this one. See, inference is not possible as it involves the fallacy of petitio principii. Inference is based on Vyapti. If Vyapti is proved taking help of inference, then petitio principii, once petitio principii. If Vyapti is proved through verbal testimony, again petitio principii. If Vyapti is proved through causal theory, again petitio principii. Question है, inference is not possible as it involves the fallacy of petitio principii. तो 3 जगह दिखा दो. If Vyapti is proved taking help of inference, then petitio principii. If Vyapti is proved through verbal testimony, petitio principii. If Vyapti is proved through causal theory, then petitio principii. We have written. Complete. क्वेश्चन बैंक की हार्ड कॉपी मिल जाएगी. अभी सॉफ्ट कॉपी मिल गई है, ये बताओ. घर पे भिजवा देंगे, एड्रेस ठीक से दे देना. यहां से सबके घर पे ही जा रहा है. इज इट क्लियर? इज इट क्लियर? पहले बोलो इज इट क्लियर. ये पार्ट क्लियर हुआ? और ये पार्ट आराम से समझने के लिए इसको शॉर्ट में कर लो, आधे पेज पे. जस्ट प्रिपेयर दिस पर्टिकुलर पार्ट, एबल टू राइट. Refutation of Vyapti. Vyapti can't be proved on the basis of perception. Area of perception is very limited. On the basis of limited perception, we can't find universal conclusion. If on the basis of some perceived cases, if you are getting where there is smoke, there is fire, it's a fallacy will arise, illicit generalization. ऐसे लिखते चले जाओ. सॉफ्ट कॉपी दिलवा देते हैं. अभी मैसेज करो, अग्रसर राज. इस नंबर पे कॉल कर लो, उनको मैसेज दो 9810172345, उनको मैसेज दो, सडनली दे विल सेंड, आपको हार्ड वो सॉफ्ट कॉपी दे देंगे PDF, ताकि आप उसको देख सको। इज इट क्लियर? पहले सारे लोग बोलो, इज इट क्लियर? यही पार्ट, दिस पार्ट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट इन ओवरऑल इन चार्वाका's फिलोसफी। इफ दिस पार्ट इज क्लियर, इसका मतलब चार्वाका में कोई अब प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। सबसे क्रूशियल पार्ट है, थोड़ा डेप्थ है। एंड दिस वन, दिस पर्टिकुलर नॉलेज, एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी परसेप्शन, देखो आप, अब मैं दूसरे टॉपिक से दिखा। देखो न्याय फिलोसफी, वी आर इन नाउ राइट नाउ न्याय फिलोसफी, वी हैव नॉट डिस्कस्ड एनीथिंग, 1 2 3 लाइन्स ओनली वी हैव जस्ट डिस्कस्ड। देखो here, since here we have discussed a lot, so now very easy to write Nyaya philosophy, also understand Nyaya philosophy. See, UPPCS, what is universal relation Vyapti according to Nyaya? To write all those things, Vyapti is an universal, unconditional, constant, concomitant relation between middle term and major term. एग्जाम्पल, वेयर देयर इज स्मोक देयर इज फायर, सब लिखोगे आप, और क्या करोगे? The Nyaya view of our knowledge of generalization. Generalization means Vyapti. Vyapti. Our knowledge of Vyapti, knowledge we find through Saman Lakshana perception. लिख दोगे? Question is here. 2001. What is the nature of Vyapti and how it is known? It is known through an extraordinary perception known as Samanya Lakshana perception by Nyaya. Explain Nyaya view on this issue and evaluate the Nyaya view in the light of Charvaka's criticism. तो चार्वाका का तो हमने 6 कर ही दिया। न्यायिका जब said we know it through Samanya Lakshana perception, देखेंगे न्याय में in detail, not here. Again in 2011, what is the nature of Vyapti? वही जो लिखे वही लिखोगे और क्या कर लोगे? इन IS में देख लो, इन IS में, UPSC IS में, in Nyaya philosophy. It's very helpful in UPP, those who are going to write UPPCS and BPSC this year. IS का तो हो गया है अभी तो। The question Vyapti पे, here we have discussed a lot regarding Vyapti. देखो आप ऐसे देखो 294, what is Vyapti and how it is known? How it is known? IS में है 94 में। What is Vyapti? We have discussed invariable concomitant relation between middle term and major term. How is it known? Through Samanya Lakshana perception. न्याय सिस्टम को दिखाओगे। Again Vyapti. Explain the Nyaya Vaisheshika 99 theory of Vyapti. 2001 Vyapti. Number 2013 Vyapti, here again Vyapti. Analyze the Nyaya concept of Vyapti. We have discussed Vyapti and refutation from Charvaka side. इतना अभी तक क्वेश्चन आया है, नेक्स्ट ईयर के लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होगा, क्योंकि सिंस फॉर द लास्ट 7-8 years क्वेश्चन हैज बीन नॉट आस्क्ड रिलेटेड टू व्याप्ति इन UPSC। तो हो सकता है सीधे आ जाए हाउ एक्सप्लेन व्याप्ति एंड हाउ चार्वाका हैव रिजेक्टेड व्याप्ति, हो सकता है डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चन। इज इट क्लियर? सो नाउ वी हैव डिस्कस्ड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ चार्वाका फिलोसफी। यही सबसे कोर पार्ट है। अब इसके बाद बहुत आसान है, After that, after completing this part, we'll discuss a refutation of validity of Sabda Pramana. And in 6 lines we'll write. After that, refutation of validity of completion of 2-3 lines. And then theory of knowledge will stop. Then we'll start to refute Charvaka's portion by others. कि चार्वाका में क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम है. So 4 or 5 refutation we'll try to write. In which way other philosophical systems have rejected Charvaka's position. Since except Charvaka, everywhere inference is accepted as a source of valid knowledge in Indian tradition. Okay, so tomorrow will be holiday. Monday ko we will able to complete theory of knowledge and we will start rejection of transcendental entities. Must be aware. So Monday ko we will able to complete this part in detail. Theory of knowledge of Charvaka philosophy. ध्यान रखना, जो अभी यूपी पीसीएस देने जा रहा हो अलर्ट रहेगा, हो सकता है यूपी पीसीएस में आ जाए व्याप्ति. एंड इट इज पॉसिबल हाउ इन्फरेंस इज रिजेक्टेड बाय चार्वाका. परफेक्ट है. क्लियर? सारे लोग बोलो, इज इट क्लियर? ओके, सो संडे विल बी हॉलीडे, फ्रॉम मंडे विल स्टार्ट वंस अगेन. क्लियर है? पढ़ लेना ठीक से. नोट्स में सेंड कर चुका हूँ, मिल जाएगा विद इन 2-3 डेज मोस्ट प्रॉब्ली. और जिसको कोई भी प्रॉब्लम हो नोट्स का ना मिले तो नोट्स प्रिंटेड नोट्स है ऑलरेडी, क्वेश्चंस बैंक है, तो वो सारी चीज़ें अपने साथ लैस होकर बैठो. कंप्लीट द टॉपिक, गो थ्रू द क्वेश्चंस पेपर, दैट्स ऑल, एंड इवेल्युएट योरसेल्फ. क्लियर? थैंक यू.